Wade. So I'm going to do a quick chat about rural crime today. Unfortunately, last week there was the National Rural Crime Network conference and I was unable to attend that, but I've been following closely all of the discussions on LinkedIn and other social media platforms. Looks like I missed a fantastic do, which is a real shame. I've been to the previous ones, so I'm glad to see that went really well. So rural crime is the theme of my brief chat today. Live, this is going live onto LinkedIn and live onto the Rural Crime Prevention YouTube channel. And I've got a couple of things to mention, and it's really kind of fitting that we've just had the National Rural Crime Network conference talking about the scale of rural crime, the types of rural crime, including a lot about domestic abuse in the rural environments, with Judith Vickers heavily involved in that. That's great to see that high on the agenda. My talk this morning, I'm coming to you from a beautiful location. So I'm out on a farm myself today. I'm in the middle of beautiful Shropshire countryside. And I've got a couple of specific things to mention to you, and then something to bring to your attention that's starting to go really, really well. I think I want to start off with the scale of rural crime over, shall we say, the last 6, 7, maybe the last 10 years. A little while ago, I actually did a bit of research and I studied the pattern of rural crime from 2014 to 2024. And what was glaringly evident during the investigation, looking at various sources, especially the annual report from the National Farmers Union, NFU Mutual, what was glaringly obvious was that while the scale of rural crime tended to fluctuate year on year, depending on various circumstances, and the classic example was during the COVID period where, boom, it dropped off the scale because obviously no one was out nicking stuff. They were stuck in their houses. The actual trend from 2014 to 24 didn't really change. And it's still the same today. If you look at the latest reports, it's always around the 45 to 53 million. It might be up one year, down another year. But it's always up there. It's always, and don't forget that the data that we predominantly look at, the NFU Mutual's annual report, which is a brilliant report, and I'm always keen and eager to look for that when it's published. That's only a snapshot in time. That's not the real scale of the issue. So that's from claims made for one, albeit the largest, one large UK national insurer. What about the claims that aren't made? What about those who aren't insured? And what about those who don't actually broker their insurance or buy their insurance through NFU Mutual? So the scale is much, much bigger than that. You might have remembered I did a chat a while ago with Dr. Cressida Smith live on one of my channels, one of our chats, and she extrapolated the realistic figure with hundreds of thousands of times more than the published 40, 50 odd million that we tend to concentrate on year. So why is that important for today's little talk then? Well, it's important because it means two things. It means we're all aware of the issue, great, but it also means perhaps we're not doing enough about it. There's a lot of government initiatives, there's tool marking and tool theft regulations. There's a lot of activity, there's a lot of social media. There's a lot of work by insurance brokers, not just NFU Mutual, but rural brokers across the UK. They do a lot of risk management work, they give a lot of advice, and there's a plethora of information out there for the rural client, the farms, the estates, and the rural businesses. But yet we still see every year 45, 50, 54 million pounds of known claims hitting the reports. So that tells me we're not doing enough. All of the above is really, really important, but there's more to be done. And what I've realized is it's the poor old farmer and the estate owner and the rural business who actually suffers the most. They get their lives violated, potentially with the threat of violence and sometimes actual violence, particularly in the case of hare coursing and people rummaging across their land with dogs and Land Rovers. When confronted, these gangs, these criminals, who are highly organised, can become violent and certainly aren't averse to threatening violence. And then we get the farmer losing his fuel supplies. How relevant is that at this particular time in our life with what's going on in Iran, Strait of Hormuz being closed, oil and gas prices going through the roof, diesel down the road here just gone up 5p a litre yesterday. So the impact is really, really hard on everybody. But that's an opportunity for the criminals. So the highly organised criminal gangs are out there looking for fuel supplies in particular. And then they're nicking stocks, fertilizers. They're sometimes stealing and butchering animals, either taking them away or killing them on site in the fields, and nicking tractors and quad bikes. The highly sought after GPS units on combine harvesters and other agricultural heavy machinery are of particularly high value, and they're especially easy to move on and sell. There's a ready-made market, so when these criminals scope out your property, your farm, they'll scope out, check your security for you, and they'll identify the weakness in your vulnerable points, and at the right moment, with very detailed planning, they will exploit that weakness, and in they come, often in the dead of night, you'll be fast asleep in your bed normally, and they'll come in, steal your stuff, steal your animals, steal your fuel, steal your fertilizer, take away any tools, any quad bikes, anything that's not nailed down, they'll have it away. And that kind of brings me full circle that rural crime over the last 10 to 15 years that I've been looking at hasn't really changed. What has changed is these gangs have got better funded, more organized, better equipped, and they're making use of technology. They will track and monitor you on social media. They'll see the day that you're off to the farmer's market. That's the day they'll probably come in and nick your stuff if they've scoped you out and identified a weakness. They'll monitor you on Facebook, on WhatsApp groups, and they just look for those telltale signs that you may not even think about as a vulnerability. So when you're putting up pictures of your brand new horse trailer or your new quad bike or your new John Deere, whatever it might be, think carefully about what you post on social media. That's advertising. That's the criminal playbook. They're looking for that kind of stuff. And at some point, they'll be able to nick it off you. So I guess the real question is, what can you do about it? And there's many options. Often, though, it's not until it's too late. So very often, the first time that the farmer, the busy landed estate owner, the busy rural worker, the first time that they typically start thinking about rural crime is when they wake up and there's no tractor there, or they wake up and they've got no fuel supplies, or they wake up and all of their hand tools and portable tools have been taken from the workshop or the shed. That's when it normally starts to hit people's agenda. And it's too late, the horse is bolted. So I'm guessing what I'm saying is you've got to be proactive. The criminals are proactive. They're always out there watching you. This farm where I'm staying today gives another example, an opportunity. So I'm working on I'm staying on this farm. I stayed here last night as a guest in a wonderful accommodation. But what an opportunity for me if I'm a rural criminal. So those businesses in the countryside who have diversified to get an extra income stream and done out by wonderful accommodation, that's an opportunity for criminals to hire those from you and use it as an opportunity to stake out your security. So if I was so minded, last night I could have had a good look around. Obviously, it's on my agenda anyway. I have been looking at security, but I could have done a detailed analysis, a real in-depth recce. I've got a drone in my car. I could have had my drone up. I could have been looking all around, doing a great recce. So you need to be aware of those other vulnerabilities if you're a rural business, estate or farm or agribusiness. So let's get back to the crux of the matter then. What can you do about it? So if you're the estate owner, the farm owner, the rural business, or even if you just live in a rural location, you are more vulnerable. And you're more vulnerable for a number of reasons. You normally leave your kits scattered over many different locations and different fields. That in itself is a security weakness. You don't physically have eyes on all of your stuff all of the time. It's easy to get in. How do you secure a wide open, huge 4-acre farm? It's very, very difficult, but you can. There's stuff you can do, but we don't often think about it. So what I did, with many years of experience, a lot of years working very closely with insurance brokers, I have developed a tool that the landowner, the estate owner, the farmer, the rural business, or the rural resident can use to take that step to be proactive and get in before the criminals do. This tool is available online. It's very cost effective. It costs $14.99, and it's a digital download. And I've put together a very comprehensive security checklist. So you go online, www.rascs.co.uk. You go to the shop, you find it, you click it. There's a freebie as well. You can download a sample if you wish, if you want to have a look at it first. But at the point where you've purchased the full product, you simply click and pay. It lands in your inbox instantly, and then you can download it to your computer. And then what you can do with it is go through the checklist systematically. It covers all aspects of farm and estate security, everything. It's really comprehensive, and it guides you through the security process. And as you go around, you make notes, and you can mark off, and then you can type it all in and fill it in and save it. But the key thing is, it will force you to look at your own vulnerabilities. It asks the question, and when it asks the question, let's, for example, talk about yard lighting. It will make you look at your yard lighting and test it. And if it's not working, you'll make a note of that, and then that will fall into the action plan at the end. So what you end up with is a full, in-depth, systematic review of your vulnerabilities and weaknesses in your rural business. But more importantly, you're left with something that is an action plan. You now know exactly what you need to do. You can allocate someone to do that, or yourself to do that, with a timeline in which to get it completed. And then once it's all done, I can 100% guarantee that you are a less vulnerable person or farm or estate. 100% guarantee that, because you have plugged weaknesses that you've identified. So that's really important. It's about being proactive. It's about recognizing that over the years, rural crime hasn't gone away. If anything, it's going to get worse and worse as the markets and economies start to suffer as a result of the global impact of various wars going on, and where prices of commodities start to rocket, like fuel and oil. Well, we're a rich target out here in the middle of nowhere. If your fuel tanks aren't secured, it's a fair bet someone's going to come and empty them for you. And of course, it costs a lot of money to get them actually filled up again. There's a lot of things we can do. I steal this from my dear friend, good friend over the years now, Frank Cannon from Rural Safeguard. It's a layered approach to security. So as you go around and do your reviews, start at your perimeter and work your way back. There's things you can do at all stages of your business. You can close the gates, you can have good, strong hedges, and there's various things on the market to stop people driving into your property and onto your land. And that's really important now, with the massive increase in fly tipping over recent times. And the cleanup costs for that can run into many thousands of pounds. And of course, once the rubbish is on your land, it's your problem. You may, if you're switched on, have taken out an insurance policy to safeguard those cleaning costs. A lot of people don't, and end up sometimes with bills ranging up to 50, 60, 70,000 pounds, particularly if the waste happens to be, say, contaminated with asbestos or other types of chemicals. So there you go. The final thing to mention, you see me wearing my t-shirt here, rural crime prevention. We also have a training course all about rural crime. It's a great course. It's taken by people all over the world. It's very popular. Again, it's competitively priced. If you go onto ruralcrimetraining.co.uk, you'll see the course on there, or go to ruralcrimes.com, you'll see the course advertised on there. Or the main website for all of my businesses is rascs.co.uk. That's Risk and Safety Compliance Services, rascs.co.uk. And on there, you'll see the Rural Crime Prevention Training course. That's fully online, fully automated, very interesting. Lots of little bits of video, and there's free downloads and case studies in there. But more importantly, why not go and get the Rural Crime Prevention Checklist? Take the initiative, take that first step, go online, download it. It's very, very cheap for what you get out of it, and take the time to go through it systematically and thoroughly. And where you identify any weaknesses, then fix them, plug those gaps, and make yourself that much less vulnerable. And then, have you heard me talking about the final thing I'm going to mention now? The reason I'm here today is at midday, I'm off to a different farm across the road there, and we're discussing technologies, new technologies to keep farmers and their livestock livelihood that much safer. There's stuff available now that's truly game changing. And I always like to keep up to date with what's the best and latest technologies. And what we're talking about when we go to the chicken farm shortly is two technologies that are truly game changing. One is our Biovitae light systems, which is a sanitizing light. You simply plug the light in, and not only do you get very cost effective quality LED illumination, the wavelength at which the light is emitted is patented technology that will kill bacteria, salmonella, tuberculosis, MRSA, and Staphylococcus aureus, and many, many other pathogens, including the spores that cause damp and mold in buildings. It's effective in the control of viruses that might lead to bird flu. And so once the lighting is installed, it's an always on active sanitation device, and it gives light at the same time. So that's really exciting. We're introducing those already across the UK into hospitals, airports, care homes, gymnasiums, cinemas, and housing stock, local authority and social landlord housing stock, because it's so effective in killing bacteria and pathogens in the air and on surfaces. Really, really effective. If you wanted a bit more info on that, simply go to lightbulb, as in lightbulb.bio, lightbulb.bio. That's my holding website for the Biovitae products. And a brand new website is almost completed, and that will be launched, I'm hoping, within the next 2 weeks. That's lightbulb.bio. The other technology that you're going to hear me talking about, which we're trialing also today, is an application. You have a sprayer on your back, and you walk through your chicken sheds or your pig housing or your cattle areas, and you simply spray this nanotechnology liquid onto your surfaces, and it stops the growth of bacteria. And when coupled with the sanitizing light bulb, Biovitae, well, I say light bulb, in the farm environment, we've got a special fitting. It's the brand new one. It's fully enclosed. It's the large strip light. It's fully enclosed. It's waterproof, gas proof. It's resistant to ammonia. It's really, really good. When you couple that with the spray on technology, you end up with an exceptionally bacteria and pathogen free environment, even on a farm situation. So there you go. That's me. That's Richard Wade here. I was chucking it down with rain when I got there last night. Hope that's been of to you. The things I've talked about are available now. The farm safety download, the checklist, it's on the website. You can go and buy it right now as we speak. The rural crime prevention training course, it's there now. Log on, pay, and off you go. The light technology, the Biovitae lighted, it's there now. It's available. And the spray on solution, which is not a chemical, it's non-toxic, it's approved in agriculture. It's truly a game changer. You're going to hear a lot about it going forward. That's available now. So I hope that's been interesting. You know where to contact me, either through LinkedIn or through rascs.co.uk. Sorry. Hope you have a fantastic day. I hope it's as nice as here.